I think we're live. I think we're live. I believe we did it. I believe we did it. I believe we did it. We did, and I forgot to turn that down. But I have confirmed to myself that we have done it. I have confirmed to myself that we have done it, so I don't regret that. Let me go back to my other window right there and be able to look at the back view. Oh, that's not working. That's not working. I don't know why that's not working. But if I go right here, I can see you guys. All right, let me change that real quick. Let me change this. Do the do. Logan Cole, Eagle Ray, Billy the Kidder. And I appreciate everybody being here. This is the new, and again, I got to remember to look at this camera now. I got to remember because I got a camera right here. And that's the one that I usually look at when I do these. It's my low budget one that's a lot easier to use. And then I got to look at this one right here for this one. So welcome to episode 21 of the number one MMA podcast on YouTube, Below the Beanie. And I got to let you guys know something. I don't know if you knew this, because there's two different kinds of people that they could be right now. There's two completely different kinds of people. There's a kind of person that maybe watches this because they're the type of person that also watches. Look, I don't know if you heard of it. There's another show that was called Below the Bout. All right, there was a show floating around out there called Below the Bout. And I don't know if you're the kind of person that's like, yeah, I get down with all of them. I'm watching both videos, or you're like, no, I'm one or the other, because you understand that one, you're getting relevant information and factual content and stuff like that. And the other one is just a bunch, I don't want to speak negatively about anybody. If I don't have nothing nice to say, then I say it off camera. But there was a show called Below the Bout. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but once Below the Beanie started hitting its stride, because they tried to come up on us and they were trying to take our logos and our branding and stuff like that. I thought it was a little bit dirty, but I wasn't going to say nothing. I was going to let it lie, and I was going to let the content speak for itself, I wasn't going to get into any kind of a Twitter war or nothing like that. But once Below the Beanie started hitting its stride, I don't know if you guys know this, Below the Bout went under. Below the Bout is no more. It's finished. And I didn't have nothing to do with it. I didn't come at them. I didn't try to start any kind of a back and forth. I wasn't trying to come at them like Ariel Hawani or nothing like that. I was just letting everything speak for itself. And I didn't follow them. That's why I didn't even know. Apparently it happened a few weeks ago. But below the I guess it's called Below the Bout. I don't even know what that's. Below the Bout, they're gone. They are no more. Because I don't know if it had anything to do with, the moment that Below the Beanie became the number one MMA podcast on YouTube. I don't know if they just say, it's a rap or what. I wasn't even going for that title. It's not about accolades for me. It's about truth. It's about information. It's about facts. It's about giving you what all the other outlets aren't going to do. That's I got my beanie down and I'm focused on doing the work, I'm not worried about trophies and accomplishments and stuff like that. We got them. We got them, but that's not what I'm doing it for. I just want to let you know, R.I.P. R.I.P. I didn't even know until this morning. That show Below the Bout or whatever is no more. It's no more. They had a good run. I just want to say, congratulations to everything that they were able to accomplish and the time that they were on the air, but they are gone. And the space is now, it's all to ourselves. And the 21 people watching. Hey, please don't forget to like this video if you're here. We will grow slowly but surely, and I like it. There's a kind of freedom right now. There's a kind of freedom right here, right now. There's not that kind of obligation or pressure like there is on the other channel to provide a certain kind of thing or to come through with, certain kind of expectations, because there's different types of things on that channel right here. It's all Below the Beanie all the time. And, that's not entirely true, because the channel's not called Below the Beanie. It's called Mexican Martial Arts Streams. I'm going to be streaming other stuff on here, so stay tuned. This is the first time I'm really able to go at it, though. I remember, I think it was like probably a year ago, I started trying to stream and I realized that I wasn't able to and it wasn't going to work out. And so I have like 2 or 3 other videos on here, but this is the first actual stream. So I'm very happy. It feels a little bit weird. And it might take me a couple minutes to get into the rhythm, but I'm happy that you're here with me to experience it. We're making history right now, episode 21. So thank you for joining me. And I just want to say hello to some of the people real quick. Jane Caulfield, hey, thank you for making it over. Fermina, I know you hate Izzy and Whitaker, but who do you want to win out of the two? Personally, I'm rooting for Rob. I mean, I know a lot of people probably think I'm going to say Whitaker with the quickness because I'm not an Adesanya fan, but I don't particularly care for Whitaker either. So I'm wondering, like, what better suits, like, you know, just as a fan, as a consumer for entertainment purposes. You know, Adesanya, I don't like that fool, but he does create news. And I don't want to say that he's entertaining, but the stuff that he creates around his atmosphere, you know, it makes news and it becomes entertaining. If he loses, you know, I think I want him to lose, because if he wins, it stays the same old thing, you know, that we've been witnessing for however long he's been in the game. If he loses, though, now he has to kind of reset. He has to kind of act differently. Maybe he kind of has to reassess. And what I do want to see is I want to see him against Pereira. And I don't know if I'm going to see that quicker if he wins or if he loses. I have a feeling I'm going to see it quicker if he loses, because they're going to want that guy to kind of claim the ranks a little bit. So I think I want him to lose. I want him to lose. I'd like to see Whitaker get up there and experience the division from a different perspective, because we've been seeing him at the top for quite a while, and it's got kind of boring. And, you know, I know he says it in a braggy way, but I'm saying it from like a bored viewer kind of way. He is starting to like circle the division. And I know some of you don't agree with that, because like he's circling like a couple of the contenders and he's not fighting anyone else. But of course there is an argument for that, because it's like, why would he fight the lower ranks? They got to work themselves up. It's a tough thing that happens in divisions, where you get like that, you got a division like this, right? And you got the people at the bottom, and then you got the champion. And the champion just keeps fighting the people right here, and they just keep rotating. It's like, hey, that's boring. What about the people right here? And it's like, you want to see it get mixed up, but at the same time, it's like, hey, they got to put in the work. What can we say, you know? They got to find a way to beat out these people right here if they want their shot. Otherwise, it's going to keep rotating. And yeah, we talk papas about it, and we don't really like that, but how else are they going to do it? People got to work themselves up. He calls it the shop show. Yeah, he changed it to the shop show. I mean, he's doing his own thing, I guess. He's doing his own thing, trying to put it all under his umbrella. And, you know, I guess that's a good business move. I appreciate you, Rafael. Team Whitaker, all right. You should make... You should make a Mexican martial arts Reddit. We have one. We have one. We just don't know how to use it. I don't know how to use it. The Mexican martial arts Reddit, you know what? You know what's pathetic? I always have a hard time finding it. I need to make like a bookmark for it. It always like reroutes me somewhere else where I don't want to go. And I always have a hard time getting back on track. Hold up. If I could find it real quick, I'd like to post it for you so you know where to find it. Is this my channel? There's a couple different... There it is. I think what happened in the past, I tried to start different Reddits, and I didn't know what I was doing on Reddit. So there's like some different things floating out there. Here it is right here. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing on this channel, because I felt kind of funny about doing it on the other channel. I didn't really want to... I know there's kind of certain expectations on that channel for breakdowns and like highly edited stuff, and I wanted to create another area where I could do stuff that doesn't interfere with that and doesn't muddy it all up, you know? So on this channel, I'm going to be doing Below the Beanie, and I'm probably going to be doing the Reddit meme reviews on this channel as well, and other stuff like that. So if you want to see stuff from the Reddit, I would love people to submit memes and stuff to the Reddit as often as they like. And now that there's a perfect outlet for it, I feel more comfortable doing it on this channel than on the other one. Because even though I have fun doing it, I know a lot of the time I would go on the other channel and people would be like, what is this? You know, I'm not here for that. I just want to hear about the Ridge wallet. But the main thing that I want to talk about today, because I want to try to get to my topics, you know, I want to try to be somewhat organized. And there is a freedom in not being organized. I usually enjoy that more, because then there's not a pressure to talk about certain things, because it, you know, it can make me nervous because I'm not an organized person. But you might have clicked on this video because of the Joe Rogan controversy, and I know a lot of people have different opinions about it. Just like the people that are coming at him right now. There's people coming at him. There's people that want him canceled. And then you got people that love him and they're trying to stand by him. And they want to support free speech. And I don't know where everybody right here lies. But, you know, I hesitate to say, hashtag Team Rogan. I hate to just like say that I'm on that full side. I stand with Rogan and all that, because it's like, well, what does that mean? What do you mean by that? Do you like racism or what? You like using words that you shouldn't use or what? I'm not saying that. And I'm not even standing with them from like, you know, I don't really particularly care about Joe Rogan in any form or fashion. The thing that I think this whole thing represents though is free speech. And I said it on here before. If there's somebody that's going to be saying dumb stuff and running their mouth, I think we should let them. Because I think that reveals everything that we need to know. You know, if people are silencing that, then you don't really know where to turn to at a certain point, because everything sounds the same. And I'm not saying, I know it's confusing sometimes when I touch on this topic. I'm not saying that I agree or disagree with Joe Rogan. I'm just saying it's terrifying if we allow him to get canceled. Because if you cancel Joe Rogan, you could cancel anybody. That was like the final frontier right there. I don't want to see Joe Rogan canceled, because if you could cancel him, you could cancel anyone. Do I particularly care about him or his comedy or his podcast or what he says? No. So I'm not out here saying I stand with him. The stuff he says, okay, you got to look at it in the context. No, I don't want to see that wall broken down, because it's not going to end there. I'm having a hard enough time as it is. If that fool gets canceled, I have no shot. I'm going to have to start coming on here talking like Ariel Helwani, having to bend the knee left and right to every different fighter just to get an interview. I can't be saying what's real. I'm going to have to be trying to make people happy. And when stuff like this happens, you got to double down, Joe Rogan. You got to go Joey Diaz style. You got to double down. This is the problem what happened to Joe Rogan. He took off in his cowboy boots. He took off to a place that he thought was going to be different, but that he didn't realize has already been contaminated. And it's not he basically moved to California #2. That's what he did right now. He went off to a place that like everyone already went to, and they changed it. And he ditched the homies that were keeping him grounded. He stopped hanging out with Joey Diaz. He stopped hanging out with Eddie Bravo. I'm not going to say he stopped hanging out with Alex Jones on camera, because that would, imply other things. But he stopped hanging out with Alex Jones. Look, you gotta have some homies like Alex Jones, though. Don't get mad at that. Don't start tripping about all of the funky stuff that he said. Yeah, wait, that one's a little too far. You gotta have some homies like Alex Jones. You gotta have some extremities, You gotta have fools on this side and this side. You know why? So that you could be right here. You have to think about that, because if you only have fools on this side, there's two ways that you could act. If you only have fools on this side, you're gonna gravitate because you got no backbone, and you give it to peer pressure, or you're gonna be way on this side because you're a contrarian. And you're going to be like, nah, fool, I don't like that. Anything they say, you know how some people are like that. Anything that they say, even if it makes sense, you're like, oh, man, I can't agree with that because I'm a contrarian. It's unfortunate that he says something that I would normally agree with. And now I can't agree with it because I'm a contrarian. That's how it is. You got to have the both extremities. If you got this homie, if you're the certain kind of person, you're going to be right there with them side by side, or you're going to be way over here. You got to have fools on this side, so they keep you this way. You don't know how to act. You don't know which way to go, so you kind of stay right here. It's that tug of war, and you got to keep yourself in the middle, and then you got a good center, You're not too far this way, you're not too far that way, because if you go too far, both sides are crazy, all right? And a lot of people don't want to admit that today because it's all or nothing. It doesn't matter what side it is. If you go too far that way or too far that way, you're crazy. You got to have that perfect balance. And Joe Rogan ditched all the homies. He went out there in the middle of nowhere, and now it's just a matter of who does he want to fly out from time to time? How much is it going to cost him? What's it going to benefit? And those fools don't want to come out. They're comfortable where they're at. He's the one that got stir crazy and flipped out. He left all the real ones behind. When you have nothing but yes men and nobody's checking you, all of a sudden you get weird, man. And then he's got that compound money, you know? He's got that compound money. Like, he's like a cult leader without like the cult. Like, I know he's got Jamie and stuff. He's got like an online cult, but he doesn't got like, he's still lonely, you know? He's like deserted island kind of lonely. He's got too much money and he can't let anybody get close, you know? And he's not. And that's why he started changing. You get that compound money, you start closing up. You don't have anybody in your face anymore telling you what's real. He won't even get close to Eddie Bravo anymore. He doesn't want to hear it. But you got to double down like Joey Diaz, and Joe Rogan doesn't have the backbone for it anymore. All of a sudden, apology. Wait, Joe Rogan uploaded again. Is it a funny meme? Is it something about Elon Musk? No, apology. How many? You got to double down, fool. I hate to say it. But of all people, Whitney Cummings. This hurts me. You think I want to say this? This hurts me right now. Of all people, Whitney Cummings. I know what you're thinking. Who's that? Or please don't ever say that name on this channel again. There's only two things you could be thinking. I know. I'm with you. But of all people, Whitney Cummings is the voice of reason right now. Whitney Cummings. And let me read to you what she said. In a statement. It was on her Twitter. But it was a statement still. She says, comedians did not sign up to be your hero. It's our job to be irreverent and dangerous, to question authority and take you through a spooky, mental haunted house so you could arrive at your own conclusions. Now here's where she messed up. Stay focused on the people we pay taxes to be moral leaders. If you're focusing on politicians and the fools you pay taxes to be your moral leaders, then you're more twisted than Whitney Cummings. And I know I'm shooting myself in the chancla here because I'm going to her as the voice of reason. But that's just you know, aside from her usual antics. You do not want to look to the people that collect your taxes to be moral leaders. That's hilarious. But it is true. It's their job to be irreverent and dangerous. Why do people look to comedy? Because it makes them laugh about stuff that's usually a little bit uncomfortable, that you're not supposed to laugh at. And that's why it's funny. People enjoy that. It's like going on a roller coaster and the inside, you know? It takes you on that journey. What do you pay the money for? Whether you're going and sitting in the actual theater or you're watching it online, that's what they get a kick out of it. It's a little rush, you know? People don't watch Joe Rogan because he's a kind individual. Because he's a soft-spoken, articulate scholar. They listen to... Well, I don't know why they listen to him. I used to listen to him a lot more when he had on like more like celebrities and athletes and stuff like that. But lately he has on like dudes that like talk about DNA and fingernails and like earlobes, and I don't know what happened to that show. I don't know if Spotify changed the itinerary or what. But my point is, he's got to double down, and he's going the opposite direction. He's apologizing constantly, and the moment you open that crack, look, even if you were wrong, look, if you're in a marriage, if you're in a relationship, if you hurt your best friend, okay, apologize. But you can't do it in the position that you're in, Joe Rogan. If you're going to be a comedian, if you're going to be groundbreaking, if you're going to be testing the limits, if you're going to be risque, if you're going to be irreverent and dangerous, you got to double down. You're not somebody that people look to be that moral leader. You're not somebody that people are supposed to look to as an example. Well, how did Joe Rogan act in that situation? Did he ask for forgiveness? Did he say the right, okay, I'm going to do that tomorrow? No, fool, you're an entertainer. It doesn't matter if you have a front on. It doesn't matter if you're in character. You're as much of an entertainer as Homer Simpson. Whether you like it or not, Joe Rogan. Let me give you a little example. Al Bundy, Homer Simpson, Barney Fife, Max Keeble, Urkel, Joe Rogan. You're a character, fool. It doesn't. I know we're in this new thing now, and entertainment is different, and you're really you, and you're not. You're playing yourself, but it's not. You're an entertainer. Dance, clown, dance. That's how it is, whether you like it or not. That's what you signed up for when you went into the business. Homer Simpson can't come on the show and say something dumb, playing the goof, and then all of a sudden he offends someone. They write a letter to Matt Groening or whatever, and then he comes up, okay, I'm sorry. You can't do that. No one's ever going to watch the show again. They're going to lose all respect for that fool. You got to double down. You can't do this to us, Joe Rogan. All of us still coming up. You let those walls break down, it's over for everybody. I don't want to make it seem like I'm some kind of a heartless individual that doesn't apologize and you're never wrong, but he's an entertainer. And I like to go to extremes. Marilena hates it. It drives her crazy. But I tell her, how could I give you a better example without going to the furthest extremes? Let's cut like 45 minutes off the conversation right here. It's great to go to extremes because then you can see black and white exactly what we're talking about. Let's not play around and grow there. Let's get to the chase. I've used this example on here before when people get upset. Sometimes I use this illustration when I'm talking about like Adesanya or whatever. I say like, all right, you get mad when entertainers say stuff. Think about it this way. Have you ever watched a movie where there was a bad guy and he killed somebody or he committed some kind of heinous activity? Let's say there was a movie where I don't know, Tom Hanks or Tom Holland or Tom Hardy. Let's say they did something bad in a movie. Any Tom you could think of. Do you go and, if you see them at Walmart, you'd be like, hey, you're an awful individual. I'm going to call the cops. They should arrest you right now. We're all going to cancel you right now. No, you would be crazy because they're an entertainer. It's a movie. You have to be able to differentiate real life from the entertainment. And here's the tricky thing. Stay with me. I know it's difficult. I know I'm speaking a lot of words to you right now. Some of you were getting confused. Some of you were on Twitter right now like, oh, wait a minute. It doesn't even matter. I don't even have a big following. You can't cancel me on Twitter. I haven't even been started. If you want to cancel me on Twitter, you got to go share my page like for several weeks and get me a bunch of followers. Then you have to cancel me. And joke's on you because you spent a bunch of time making me big. But you got to think about it that way. If you try to go after some actor, some Hollywood actor for doing something in a movie, and you try to go after them in real life, that's what people are doing with Joe Rogan right now. And I know what you're saying. That's ridiculous because he's a real person and he's saying how he really feels. Oh, for real? That's how everybody thought about Stephen Colbert. That's what everybody thought about Stephen Colbert in the Colbert Report. Some people don't know how to tell reality from fiction. And either way, let me remind you, either way, look at real close. Look, reality, fiction. You see them both right here? And look at up here that you can't see, it was just out of the frame. Entertainment. Reality, fiction, entertainment. It's under the entertainment umbrella. Okay? Have you ever heard of gray? That's a gray area right there. You can't treat it the same way. It's entertainment. It's like when you go through a drive-thru. And I was telling my kids this the other day because we went through the drive-thru and they gave us cold chicken sandwiches. They forgot the curly fries. They didn't give me my hot mustard. They forgot one of the sodas. And they gave us a fish fillet. There's no seafood in this house. And I reminded him, I was like, hey, look it, this is a life lesson right here. When you go through the drive-thru, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. You never know what you're going to get. And we sign up for that. When we go through the drive-thru, we sign that unspoken agreement. It's a gamble. I'm in a hurry. I want some real greasy, unhealthy stuff in my body right now because something in it makes me feel good. And I want it now. And it might be messed up. It might be cold. That 15-year-old that hates their life and hates their job even though they signed up for it, probably going to spit in it. But that's the gamble that we're signing up for right now. That's the same thing that you do when you get that mouse and you click that internet open and you allow that to come into your household. It's entertainment. It's a gamble. If you can't handle it, cut the Wi-Fi. Don't cancel the fool saying it. Cancel your internet. Back in the day, I remember if there was something on the screen that I didn't like and I was fuming, you know what I would do? I would turn it off. You can't turn off a human. You know what that's called? Murder. You're trying to murder Joe Rogan right now. Metaphorically speaking, it's still murder. And Joe Rogan's letting him do it. He doesn't have the right homies around him right now. Joe Rogan, right now, in this fight, he's coming at the people like Tony Ferguson with no training camp. Thinking he doesn't need anybody. He's coming in there with Mike Perry, with his lady, right there with Jamie. He's not coming in with the homies. He's got to have the crew with him, the people that kept him grounded for all those other years. Hey, think about it this way. Years and years he did the Joe Rogan podcast, and he did it live. That's a lot of guts right there. He did it live. Did we ever have any trouble? Never. He goes to Spotify, leaves the homies behind. Look it. Every single week is something new. They took this many episodes down. They're canceling this one now. They're editing that one. He's apologizing now. The CEO is having to make all these things right now and give money to this and that. Neil Young's off the thing. And all these other artists that we never even heard of in our lives. And now they're getting publicity for the first time ever just because they're taking their music off Spotify. And now people are going to go follow them on SoundCloud. He never had those problems before. And now Rumble's offering him $100 million to go to Rumble. Which I don't know how that's going to work because supposedly it's like a Donald Trump thing. And Donald Trump is a little bit upset with Joe Rogan right now. He's telling him, stop apologizing, fool. Stop it already. I think it's bad news. I'm not surprised that people are coming after him. Of course they're going to do that. Of course they're going to do that. There's plenty of other people, by the way. I'm not going to get into this because that's not what this channel's for. But I'm just going to say this real quick. I'm going to leave it with you to decide. I'm going to leave it with you to marinate. They got other reasons for trying to cancel him, all right? Because somebody brought it up. Neil Young. One of the artists that's complaining, the one that started this whole thing, wanted to take his music off. Someone put an interview up. I mean, people want to go back. That's what people like doing. You know, they want to go way back and find out what you ever did or said wrong in your life so they could cancel you now, right? Someone pulled up that something that Neil Young said a while back about men who are fond of other men. He did not have kind words to say about them, and he used some vulgar language. Nobody cares about that. Maybe that was too long ago, right? We could go back, but not that far back. Not that far back. That's uncomfortable. That was like even before we had the internet. That doesn't count. As long as it was while we had the internet, that's all right. Who else was it? Somebody else said or did something. I mean, it's interesting when you look into it. There was another big name. I'll let you do your own research. It just seems like there's a certain cluster where you could do or say whatever you want and you never seem to get canceled. But if you're from another cluster, you're going to get canceled. I don't know what that's all about. I'll leave that for you to decide. But I think either way, Joe Rogan needs to remember, fool, don't take yourself too seriously. You cannot take yourself too seriously. You're an entertainer. You're an entertainer. You started off as a comedian. Well, you started off as a fighter, which also entertains people. You know, people watch fights, they're entertained. You're an entertainer as a fighter. You're an entertainer as a comedian. You're an entertainer as that full-on Fear Factor. You're an entertainer when you're doing color commentating for the UFC. Then you started the podcast. You're an entertainer. But then you started to talk to doctors and scientists and authors and physicians. And then you started to take yourself a little bit seriously and forgot you're an entertainer. And you know what entertainers do, Joe Rogan? They don't tap out. They double down. Because it's not their job to be a moral leader. It's not their job to be responsible or respectful. As stupid as it sounds, I'm not trying to tell people to be irresponsible and not respectable, but that's not their job. Their job is to entertain. Now, let me ask you this question before you think I'm saying some nonsense. Do you enjoy any form of entertainment, whether it's a TV show or a movie or whatever, where the characters are being irreverent and irresponsible and disrespectful? Of course you do. Do you not watch any movies or TV shows that have villains? Of course you do. It's entertainment, Joe Rogan. If you only remember one thing from this, because of course you're watching this. It's the #1 MMA podcast on YouTube. Joe Rogan, if you watch this, when you watch this, you need to remember, you can fast forward the whole first, I don't know how long I've been streaming of this. I probably talked about it too long. You need to remember one thing. You are an entertainer. That's it. Don't apologize. Don't backtrack. Don't try to be a moral leader. Don't try to be responsible. You're an entertainer. There's one thing you're supposed to do. Entertain. And you know what will be real entertaining right now, Joe Rogan? If you double down. Because everybody who really knows the real Joe Rogan knows the stuff you say, even if it sounds stupid, knows where it's coming from. And knows that there's a part of you, because it's in all the comedians, that says that stuff just because you know it's going to make people mad. And you're trying to wake them up and let them know, hey, fools, you're all taking yourselves too seriously. Lighten up. And it's my job to help you lighten up. You got to remember that, Joe Rogan. You're supposed to be that one in the danger zone making people laugh. They're not going to laugh without you. Now, I'm not going to laugh with you because I've been saying for years, I don't think you're funny personally. But you got to keep making those people laugh who do think you're funny. That's your responsibility. You are an entertainer. And I have to say, because I love transitions, that this whole thing with Joe Rogan apologizing has me almost as sick as Adesanya's chesticle. It's back, ladies and gentlemen. It is back. And I think it's bigger than ever. And it's very interesting. Somebody was saying, I think it was Submission Radio. They were talking about how it's very interesting that it only seems to grow right before his fights. Now, I know there's a lot of Adesanya defenders. And they like to talk about, hey, leave him alone. It's gynoplastia. And I had it when I was a teenager. And I still have it. Okay, does it only appear every time right before one of your fights, though? Are you a fighter? Are you a businessman? Does it only appear right before a big meeting? I mean, what's important in your life? Are you a dancer? Does it only appear right before a big performance? Do we have any kind of explanation for what's going on with Adesanya right now? Does it come and go with like pay-per-views? Does anybody in here understand how gynoplastia works? Because I mean, maybe I shouldn't say it myself, but you know, I do have to frequent the forums and whatnot. I do have to know what's going on the pulse of the MMA community. And a lot of people think he's not on the PECograms, he's on those PECograms. Adesanya seems to repeatedly be on the PECograms. And they come back every single time he has a fight. And look it, I'm telling you, you could go on right now. I'm going to go look right now. And there's something that I'm not proud of right here. Over the last, I don't know, a couple years, I have spent what I would call too much time I have spent what I would call too much time looking at Adesanya's chesticle. A little, like an uncomfortable amount of time, I would say. But I have to tell you, I have discovered some things. Israel. Okay, look at. Oh my gosh. I'm not trying to look up Israel. I'm trying to. Adesanya, there we go. If you look on his Instagram page, because you can find photos of him right now on other people's channels, on other people's things or whatever, and you'll see the little bolito. You'll see it like talking to you, coming at you. If you look on his Instagram, every single photo, he's like this. He's trying to cover it. Every single photo, or he's like that. There's one where he's like this, because he's trying to raise it up. He's trying to get that lift, There's one, or he has a shirt on. He's at some kind of angle. And every single photo, he's at some kind of angle trying to cover it up. He knows what he's doing. He knows that he's culpable. Every single photo is almost like in your face. It's almost like a slap to the person looking at it. I'm looking at him right now. He's doing a kick and he has like his wrist covering it. There's another one. The photographer has it like in a shadow and it's like in the foreground. He's got it like out of focus. It's like, it's shameful. It's shameful what he's doing. And he has the nerve to still lie about it. I got to tip the Beanie to Submission Radio. They're the ones that kind of broke it. They're like, hey, what's going on right here? I think it was Submission Radio. I hope it was. I don't want to do anybody dirty. But they were talking about, it's very interesting how it only ever seems to appear right before a fight. What's going on with this dude's cycles? What's happening right now? But even before that came up, I was wanting to talk about that on here. Before I was seeing the PECogram. We were talking about Usman the other day. We're talking about Usman considering fighting Adesanya. After all this, I'd rather have two African champs with one belt than one with two belts and all that. Things are starting to get very interesting. And I told you that Adesanya was going to have to clap back. Usman was trying to back him into a corner. After all this talk that they were homies and everything, I think Usman was trying to get his confidence up. He was trying to get those attributes up so that if and when it did happen, he'd be ready. All of a sudden, Usman's manager got a hold of the Twitter and started saying stuff. Starts saying that, they were never even really friends. Anybody will do anything for money. You give them the right amount of money, these fools will get down in the parking lot. They'll fight in the parking lot. You just got to come at them the right way, he was saying. All of a sudden, I told you he's going to have to clap back. He's either going to have to look like a punk and stay quiet, because obviously Usman could tell his manager, hey, fool, you work for me, shut up. So if Adesanya saw that he didn't do that, he knew he'd have to clap back. He'd either have to look like a punk or he'd have to clap back. And now, the other day, just a few days ago, Adesanya was saying he might step up and do another side mission at a different weight. He's been a little cryptic. He's not really saying where he's going to go, but we already saw what happened when he tried to go too far up. We already saw what happened at the light heavyweight. So when he says step up, I don't think he means step up literally like up in weight. I think he means up to the challenge. And we already know that he can't step up to the challenge at the light heavyweight, so he's going to have to step up to the challenge down at the welterweight. It's a little bit of, you have to work to get there, but that's why it's cryptic. It wouldn't be cryptic otherwise. And this fool's trying to be cryptic. Stay with me. I'm trying to break it down for you. He says, and I quote, step up and do another side mission at a different weight. He's clapping back right now. We haven't seen any public conversation between these two so far, but we do know that he's responding. This is his response. He also said that he doesn't want to fight Pereira until he proves himself as a contender. Hey, Adesanya, how else could Pereira prove himself as a contender aside from beating you 2 times? I mean, I can't think personally when it comes to Pereira and Adesanya. I can't think of a better way that he could prove himself as a contender aside from beating you twice one of those times knocking you out. Please educate me. That doesn't make any sense to me. And now he only has even more options to do it with. You got to think about it this way, Adesanya. He has more tools now than he did when he beat you before. Because Adesanya, you're not going to put him in a Kimura. You're not going to put him in the triangle choke, you know? So don't think because he's coming over to MMA, you have some kind of an upper hand. What are you going to do? Do the flying guillotine or whatever? That's not your game, fool. And he already beat you at your game. Plus, now he has other things that he could utilize because it's MMA rules. So, Adesanya is basically doing, like, I don't know, at some point I'm thinking, are these two fools in on it together, Usman and Adesanya? Because Usman, he's been talking lately, yeah, Khamzat, he's trying to respect him. You know, he's up and coming. He's a good contender. He's a strong guy. He's formidable. Yeah, but you know, by the time he gets up there, I might already be gone. I don't know. Like, he's trying to get out of there. He doesn't want to face Khamzat. And Adesanya doesn't want to fight Pereira. Usman's like, yeah, by the time he's already out there. Usman? Who's right there that he's not going to beat? You think Burns is going to beat him? And then right on the other side, you got Adesanya and Pereira. Well, if you know, he needs to prove himself as a contender. Adesanya, stop it. Stop it. I don't know if the PECogram messes up the imbalance or whatever, makes you say crazy things. You're not making any sense, fool. You need to be proving yourself as a contender to fight him. He owns that belt you have. Adesanya trying to run for him more than he ran from Metal. And his coach, Eugene Berman, he was over there complaining on an interview saying Adesanya's not getting promoted enough. He's not getting enough promotion. He said that he can't really talk about it though. He said, he's not getting promoted enough. He's not getting in the limelight enough. The UFC's not talking about it, but I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it right now. And also came up right after that, Adesanya in that same interview only has 2 fights left on his contract. I'm assuming that in his last 2 fights, one of them being the one that's coming up against Whitaker, I'm assuming he's not going to fight Pereira. I don't think he's going to fight Pereira. Let's look at the rankings real quick. Let's look at the UFC rankings real quick. UFC. And I know I've been neglecting the chat a little bit. It's a little bit off right now. It's a little bit weird because I'm using a different platform. And it's super behind right now. It's super behind right now. So I'm going to have to come back and look at this. But I want to just keep up with the news right now. I want to give you what I got to say, and then I'm going to come back to the chat. So right now, the middleweight, we got Adesanya at the top. He's on fight Whitaker. We got Vettori, Cannonier, Brunson, Costa, Strickland. Yeah. He's not going to be fighting Pereira. Pereira is, I'm sure I don't have to tell you this because he barely came into the UFC, but Pereira is not in the top 15. We got Chris Weidman in there ranked. Weidman. Hey, he's not even in the top 15. Pereira. That's not, the chances aren't looking good. The chances are looking good that Pereira's going to fight Adesanya on his last fight. So we got Eugene Berman over here complaining that he doesn't get promotion and that he only got 2 fights left. That sounds like he's trying to say he's dipping. He's dipping soon. He's unhappy with what the UFC is giving him. He's going to be dipping. It sounds like it's like maybe a threat, maybe an ultimatum. Either way, it looks like Adesanya is trying to get out of fighting Pereira, but it looks like he may be into trying to fight Usman. And I said this the last video, when I told you Usman was saying Adesanya was never my friend. That Adesanya was going to have to look like a punk or he was going to have to clap back. And this is his version of clapping back. His coach saying he's not getting the promotion he deserves. He only has 2 fights left. And Adesanya saying, I'm going to have to jump weight classes. He's probably going to want to try to do a super fight for his last fight. Assuming he beats Whitaker. I don't know if anyone would care about the super fight when he loses to Whitaker. He just lost to Blachowicz, then he loses to Whitaker. They're not going to want to see him against a pound-for-pound champ. He's in a bad spot if he loses to Whitaker. He's complaining about promotion, has 2 fights left, one of them being Whitaker. If he loses to Whitaker, it's not looking good. If he loses to Whitaker, they'll probably make him fight Cannonier. And I'm telling you, if it's not Cannonier, it'll probably be Brunson. And Adesanya will be so demoralized after losing to Blachowicz and Whitaker, Brunson will destroy him. Brunson will, I already ride with Brunson. I already ride with that fool. On top of that, Adesanya being so beaten down and discouraged by those 2 losses, he's not going to have the mentality to stand up against that fool. I told you last time, Brunson's going to take that fool out like the groceries, like that one meme he's always in. It's going to be easy work for Brunson. And we got Poirier trying to jump classes now. Poirier's stuck. Poirier's stuck as that bridesmaid. That bridesmaid that's always right there, always being a contender, trying to being the interim champ, trying to get the title. Always just right there on the edge of it, but he can't get it. He's always catching those flowers, but he can't get up there himself. He can't get the... It's sad. He's one of those fools that you've seen him doing the work, and he's such big names, and you kind of want it for him, but he just can't quite pull it off. Starts talking about jumping weight classes, and now he's talking about jumping sports. Somebody asked him on Twitter, are you going to fight Conor McGregor again? Is there going to be a part 4? Because for a lot of delusional people, they think that the last couple times that he lost, that Conor McGregor lost, that it was a flash knockout, it was a quit, it was out of nowhere, give him another, just like they didn't want to give to Aldo. Oh, his leg broke, it was, okay. So 3rd time's the charm, I guess. Poirier doesn't want to do it. Poirier is on the more sensible end, where it's obvious to just about anybody with a good head on their shoulders that Conor McGregor does not any longer have the capacity to beat him. So he says, I would consider fighting Conor McGregor if it was a boxing match. Poirier is starting to make some funky decisions right now. It was already not looking good when he started saying, and we can't get too mad at him because it's heartbreaking what he's been through. He loses to Oliveira, and he's saying, you know what, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might go to welterweight. But come on, oh my gosh, imagine Poirier trying to fight some of these welterweights. Imagine Poirier trying to fight Usman. Imagine what Usman would do to Poirier. Imagine. I want you to take like 7 seconds. Imagine what Usman would do to Poirier. And I want you to focus solely on what Usman would do to Poirier. And I don't want you to be distracted by counting to 7. So I'm going to do it for you. So when I start right now, I want you to think about nothing but what Usman would do to Poirier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5, 7. Do you understand? Did you see it? Do you know how much Usman would hug Poirier? He'd be hugging that fool like if they were at the airport. Do you understand how much control time Usman will have? He might not lay a hand on him, but do you understand that squeeze? That's tiring. It's tiring. I don't know if you've ever been in a lengthy, enthusiastic type of embrace. Poirier will have no shot. And then going down, what's he going to do? Go down to featherweight? Imagine Poirier being all drained, all skin and bones, trying to go toe-to-toe with Volkanovski. Poirier's in a tough spot. And it sounds ridiculous. Fool, you're gonna jump like every time someone does that, it's like, oh, they're done. They're done. You couldn't hang. Now you gotta change a weight class. You could deny it all you want. I know you want to ride with your favorite fighters and stuff like that. You want to be a diehard. You want to keep the Niner jersey on or whatever. I understand it. Some people is die hard, you know? Die hard. It's rough. But when you hear that, oh, I'm going to change weight class, oh, man. Oh, like down inside, you know. Not only that, now he's taking it one further. You know what? I'm probably just not going to do UFC anymore. I'm a box. The only plus side to this is if you decide, because there's two different types of fighters that you could be. You could be a fighter who is fighting for the paycheck. That's it. And that's respectable. There's nothing wrong with that. Imagine if you worked at McDonald's, you know? And you're like, you know what? I'm just here. I don't even care about the paycheck. I'm just here to get employee of the month. I'm trying to get my face on that wall. What? Imagine that. Imagine you worked at McDonald's and you had that one coworker and you're like, so how much? What's on your check? Did you get overtime? They're like, I don't even look at it. I'm just trying to get on that wall. I'm trying to pick up all the trash and I'm trying to make sure the menu's all good outside. You know that fool last week he forgot to change the breakfast. I'm on it. I'm ready. I'm trying to be employee of the month again, 2 months in a row. I mean, when you think about it, it's kind of a weird life that the athletes live. You know. It's like they're constantly trying to be employee of the month. That's a weird life. When everyone else, any other job you could think of, they're like, fool, I'm just trying to get paid. I'm trying to get a bigger TV. What are you talking about, employee of the month? That's what their life is. They're constantly trying to be employee of the month. And that's tough. That's a weird kind of existence to have to live. So either you're that kind of fighter that's always trying to be employee of the month, or you're just trying to get a paycheck and provide for your family. And that's respectable. Because you got to think about it. If you have a family, if you have people to care for, if you have obligations and responsibilities and bills, and you're always trying to be employee of the month, you're probably not going to make the best business decisions. You're always trying to get that fame. You're always trying to get in the highlight. You're always trying to get the trophies. You're always trying to get the awards. And you're not focused on the business side of it that gets the bills paid, you know? So it is respectable if he's coming at it from that way. Like, I don't care about that. I'm not trying to glorify myself with a bout. I'm not trying to glorify myself with more accolades. I'm trying to secure my family. That's respectable. Okay, Poirier. When you talked about changing divisions, I was like, oh, no, it doesn't look, it's not a good look. You look like you're throwing in the towel. When he's trying to jump to different promotions, different sports, oh, no, it doesn't look good. Looks like you're running from the sport. You can't even fight anymore. What's next? BKFC? But then it's like, wait a minute. You're just trying to secure that bag for your family, huh? You're not thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about your legend status. You're not thinking about legacy. You're thinking about your family. You're thinking about Disneyland. You're thinking about college funds. I respect that. Poirier says he's not going to do another fight in the cage with Conor. Doesn't look like it, but he will box him. You know what, Poirier? I'm going to pay for that. And I hope it's not on Showtime, because they're a bunch of punks. I talked about him before. I'm not going to give him any more airtime. But David, what's his name? Steven Espinosa, you're a punk. You basically stole my money, and you didn't even let me watch the replay. Never had another promotion in my life do that to me. I don't care if it's Triller, what's it called, Fight TV, HBO, UFC, every other thing. I get it, I could watch it all day and night, rewind it, replay it. Showtime, I bought it, and they're like, gone. I was like, hey, can I watch it again? No. Can I replay it? No. Is there some link where I could see parts? No. What? One time only. It's gone. It's in the cloud. It's in the Disney vault. Dirty vatos. But Poirier, hey, you know what? I stand with Joe Rogan. Apparently. I hope you go back and see the first part of the video because I don't want you to think I'm a Joe Rogan fanboy if this is out of context. So apparently I stand with Joe Rogan. I stand with Dustin Poirier. I stand with Submission Radio and calling out Adesanya's PECograms. And I stand with the last thing that I'll talk about today, Kevin Holland's troll. Kevin Holland's troll, you won. I know you lost, but you won. I know it's old news already, but apparently Kevin Holland was getting trolled online for like a year. More than a year, he says that he was getting harassed. He was getting harassed by what he called the internet troll. And he did what you're never supposed to do. And I know what you're already finishing the thought for me. He fed the troll. He fed the troll. Kevin Holland was getting a lot of messages, a lot of DMs, and apparently Kevin Holland had nothing better to do. I think maybe if he was in the gym training more, he would have won his last 3 fights? What did he lose? His last 3 or 4 fights? I think he lost 2 of them or 3 of them, and one of them was like a no contest. What was it? He lost his last 2, and the most recent one was a no contest. I have a feeling that if Kevin Holland, if he would have been spending some more time, in the gym instead of reading his troll DMs, maybe he would have won his last 3 fights. It's at least possible. It's at least something worth considering. But he's in the DMs. This fool's apparently harassing him. And he fed him. He said, come inside. And he told him come inside and he made him a little brisket. He fed that fool. Fed his belly all nice and full. Broke the cardinal rule. First of all, don't even read the DMs, fool. At your level, you shouldn't be reading them because there's 2 things that are going to be happening in those DMs. Well, there's 3 things. One of them is traps. Stay away from that. I don't know if you're a single fool. The second one is you're going to have fools talking papas and clowning and trolling. I got something in my eyes driving me crazy. And you're going to let it get to you just like you did. And you're going to feed him. Number 3, there's going to be people praising you and saying how great you are. You're going to get a big head. And you're going to think that you don't need to go to the gym and train anymore. And you're going to be in the DMs reading the troll comments, not going to the gym. And you're going to lose 3 fights in a row. It's all big. You got to stay out of the DMs, Kevin Holland. It's driving me crazy. What is that, eyelash? So Kevin Holland opened up the DMs. He was getting harassed. It bothered him a lot. That fool was being mean in the DMs. He was saying a lot of mean things to Kevin Holland. And Kevin Holland had to let him know what's up. Because he was saying hurtful things. And you can't come at Kevin Holland like that. Because he's going to take it for real. And he's going to have to act on it. You can't just be saying nonsense like that in the DMs without repercussions. And a lot of these fighters, a lot of these meatheads do the same thing. Joe Rogan did it. Do you remember when Joe Rogan fed the troll? He had a MySpace troll who was saying that he could beat him in rolling. I talk about it in my Joe Rogan video. If you've never seen it, just type in 7 times Joe Rogan fought on camera. Joe Rogan fed a troll. Sean O'Malley fed a troll. Look at the kind of people that we're talking about right here. I mean, yeah, I don't want to disrespect people in the chat right now because I know there's probably some fighters watching. Probably some MMA practitioners. People that train UFC. But it's kind of a unfortunate fighter trait, You always gotta look up and let people know what's up. It's tough to be the bigger man. And it's kind of a thing in fighters. And, we got to give it to them. Because they provide entertainment for us. We watch, don't we? We watch them slug it out, don't we? We watch them roll around. But it's one of those unfortunate traits when someone comes at them, they feel like they got to step up. They got that little piece of meathead DNA in there. Joe Rogan did it. Sean O'Malley did it. Kevin Holland did it. You got to know there's way more that we don't know about. Conor McGregor does the same thing. He's always fighting his fans. The only thing is, they don't really consent to it. That's the only difference. He kind of just does it, like he kind of blacks out. And it's not really, they're not really willing to do it, but it still happens is what I'm saying. It's a fighter thing. A lot of people are wondering. And I know that, I mean, we've seen this on like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That's the most notable one in my memory. But we've seen it before, where someone's kind of on a losing streak. Someone's kind of trying to impress people and they don't know what to do. So they like stage stuff. They set it up. They tell someone, hey, you know, I'll give you $50 or whatever, you know, roll up and try to act like you want to get down, and then, you know, let me, you know, make it look real, and then I'll beat you, you know. Some people think he paid him. Some people think that he needed a win so desperately that he set this whole thing up. That fool was his cousin. I don't know if that's true. It's my job to relate to you what's going on. I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have the access to either of these fools. I mean, I know that he reads all his DMs. I guess I could go ask him. I could try to clarify. I'm just telling you what I've heard. You know, I give you the truth. You know, when I have the information, when I'm coming at you with different narratives and stuff like that and what's going on in the community, I'll bring you the truth. I'll tell you what's not happening, what you're not receiving from other outlets. But at the same time, I also want to give you information that's out there in the forums, in the comment sections, in the interviews, in the articles, on the Reddits, on the 4chan. I'll let you know what people are saying. And I don't know if that's true. I'm just giving you some context. Because I like, you know, it's fun to kind of put the puzzle pieces together by yourself as well. But that's something that's floating around out there. Was it for real? Is that fool dumb enough to defeat the troll, fly him out? This fool didn't win his last 3 fights. He's not making as much money as he could have if he was winning. And he's still wasting his hard-earned money flying people out to fight them. So either he's really dumb or it was staged. Now he's got a win under his belt. And now this win maybe buys him a little more street cred than UFC wins. Because this was like, you know, street fight, even though it wasn't technically in the street. It's a street fight, you know? So maybe fools are looking at him like he's even harder now. Because he won like a real fight, you know? Even again, it's not a real fight because they were on the mat and they probably had some kind of rules or whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. When you see like that grainy, sketchy looking vertical video online of someone fighting, it gets you a little more street cred than if you're in there with Herb Dean, you know? Kevin Holland finished the whole thing up by saying he's willing to do it again. If more people want to step up, they want to keep talking papas in the chat, he'll do it again. He didn't learn his lesson. He didn't learn his lesson. Kevin Holland, look it. Again, if you see this, Kevin Holland, you can't go into Wikipedia. I mean, I think you could go, like, if you know how to go in there and edit and stuff, but it's not gonna hold up. You can't keep racking up these street fights and add them to your Wikipedia. Like all of a sudden you're winning. It's not gonna matter. I don't know if you're gonna try to end up starting your own promotion or something like that, like Masvidal, but these aren't gonna count. You're only wasting your time. It would be hilarious if somebody here knows how to use Wikipedia and they added that win to his Wikipedia record. That would be hilarious. And I would do it myself if I knew how to use Wikipedia, because my whole life I've heard that you could edit Wikipedia, and I've never cared to research to find out how to do it myself. It's ridiculous though. I don't know why he's doing it. I have been streaming for over an hour now, and I want to read some of the chat because I feel that I've been neglecting some of you and I don't like it. I don't like it. So I want to read some of the chat real quick before I wrap it up. Charles Barkley is saying that Amanda has zero skills. She only won fights because she fought other zero skills girls. She would get dirt napped by Chase Hooper. What? That's a thin line for me. Because I respect Peña, and I really want respect on Peña's name. And if I discredit Nunes and act like she has nothing, then it discredits Peña. And you know what's been making me real sad? Look it, we talked about it before. Khabib. What is that? You see that? Scam likely. Scam likely. Hey, Mexican martial arts on YouTube. Look it up. Mexican martial arts. Mexican martial arts. Go subscribe. We just got another subscriber. We just got another subscriber. Hey, Khabib, look it. This is my plea right here, Khabib. You're my favorite fighter and everything. Most dominant champion, the GOAT, you know? But ever since that fool started learning English, not only did it break Peña's heart, it broke my heart a little bit too. I don't know if you guys heard the other day. Khabib started disrespecting and saying that like Peña's win wasn't even that impressive. She's not even that good, and that it seems like lately Khabib, it's like, look, Khabib, look. You could get to the top of the mountain, Khabib. You could get to the top of the mountain and you're there. You know, literally and metaphorically, like the Dagestani mountains, the metaphorical mountain of the MMA world, whatever it is, like you're there in any form or capacity, you're there, fool. But that doesn't mean to look down at all the other fools and start talking papas and saying you're this and that and you're not good and you're a punk and you're not good enough and you could do better. And ever since that fool started learning English, he just starts like, Khabib's becoming like, kind of, he's like a critic, you know? Kind of like talking down all the other people and saying that they're not good and they should do this and they need to work on that and this isn't impressive. It's like, fool, you're starting to sound like my tío or something. Like a curmudgeon kind of fool, like always just complaining about everything. It's like, stop it. I got the uppermost respect, you know? I got the uppermost respect and you're the goal and you've accomplished all the things and you're the most dominant, but I don't want to see him like disrespecting other people who are putting in the work and doing great and accomplishing great things for themselves. One of the best things that Khabib always had going for him was the respect, the humility, being humble, you know? And lately he's just like, I don't like you, you're no good, you're trash, you need to do better, you're never gonna be a champion. It's like, stop it. I don't want you, like, don't go out like that. Don't go out like a cranky dude that's just always complaining about everything. And it hurts me to say this. Chef X Hyrule says that's always been who Khabib was, though, a competitor. I understand that. I guess what the difference is, back in the day, he would show that by dominating, by smashing. And I guess now since he's not fighting, it's coming out even more verbally. He's giving him that verbal judo now. And it's just like, it's a lot, you know? But that was like one of the main things that made me a fan. Just how calm and collected and stoic and polite he was. So now it's kind of like a rude awakening or something, you know? I'm not used to it. But I want to thank everybody here for being here for the inaugural Below the Beanie episode on the Mexican Martial Arts Streams channel. If you have not already subscribed, I would appreciate it very much if you would. Only if you want the streams. I'm not going to be doing breakdowns on this channel. This is for the homies that are here for that long form. And I appreciate you. Those of you that have made the change over here are the loyal of the loyal. There's a lot of people on the other channel. I'm not trying to disrespect them or nothing. But every time I upload anything other than a UFC breakdown, they're like, That's, you know, it's fair weather. It's fair weather, to be honest. And I appreciate those of you that have made the move to come over here. Not the move, but the addition. Because I'm obviously still over there. But I thank you very much for joining me on the #1 MMA podcast on YouTube, Below the Beanie. I'm gonna be doing this. I would like to do. I'm not even gonna make any commitments right now. It's supposed to be a daily morning show, but I still have unfortunate things going on at my residence at the moment that sometimes is destroying my schedule, and I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this necessarily for well, I'm not gonna get into that right now. I have to make the breakdowns, but I enjoy doing the streams. They're not even monetized right now. I don't know if you noticed, you can't even give super chats right now. This channel's not monetized, but I really want to try to force myself to make this daily because I like it. And when I don't do it, I'm depressed the rest of the day. Every time I start off the show with the Below the Beanie, it's a good day. So I like doing it. I like being here, and I'm glad to have those of you that enjoy it as well. I appreciate all of you, and I hope that I say it enough for you to know that I mean that. Thank you for watching Below the Beanie. Thank you for watching Mexican Martial Arts. Appreciate it. Good looking out. Lay. It doesn't say stop stream anywhere on here. I'm using it. Oh, there it is. All right.